Wednesday evening, and it's date night. I met Mr. Sunny Singh at the club over the weekend, and this movie was going to be our first date. So he picks me up from work in his pickup. Every Sikh guy or Paji has a pickup. So we head off for the movies, or so I think. And instead of going towards the mall, he turns the car around and we're heading to his place. So I think to myself, wow, movie night at home? This is one cool dude. We get to his place and his parents are away. And Mr. Sunny announces he wants to play. Play? What's going on? So I sit him down and tell him off. I come from a respectable family, and it's only appropriate if we dated like regular people and we took things slowly and especially let our families know. You see, in the Asian culture, we still live with our parents, so permissions for almost everything are necessary. He's disappointed, he's brooding, and he remains silent. I get my answer. I slammed the door on his face and I left. Now, this incident became pretty much what was happening in my life, where absolutely nothing was working out. Nothing. I'm a third-generation Kenyan Asian and the first one in my family. My mother came from a well-off background, and my father belongs to a recognized family whose legacy lies in the spiritual roots of Sikhism here in Kenya. They've worked hard, they've sacrificed, and they've done their utmost best to bring us up. Now, my life, well, the path was predictable. I was going to go to school, study, get back from college, university, accept the marriage proposal, have the Bollywood type of wedding, the children, and make mommy and daddy proud. But things didn't go that way for me. You see, in the Asian circle, you don't hit the gossips unless you are a celebrity in the Bollywood world or a politician, or you do things kind of unusual, legal or illegal. So I was the first in my family at the age of 17 to get a job. Apparently, nobody gave us the memo that if you had a GCE qualification, you couldn't attend the local universities. The parallel programs came later. So I got the job at the radio station, and I was having fun. And I didn't think much of school. In fact, I quickly realized that my talents lay in being a producer, a presenter, and a storyteller. So when I moved up to television, it just felt like home. But unfortunately, the disparity between my hopes and ambitions on one side and the earnings on the other side, things were thick. So I had to make the painful decision to get a non-media job with better pay and let my passion be relegated to a hobby. Now, this job became a chore. In fact, I found myself becoming more of a labor union leader, fighting for better working conditions and employee rights. I was so bored. I was turning 30, I'm still single, and I feel like I just haven't achieved anything in life at all. Work, marriage, and by the way, that movie Date was not going to dictate the rest of my life. So I've known that in moments of major despair, you do foolish things. The next day, I go to the office. I go up to the boss and say, I quit. He is shocked because he's wondering, how am I going to survive since I was always the first one to ask for the paycheck? I just ignored him and I left with nothing but the determination to do something meaningful in my life, and it had to be now or never. So I see a gap in the digital space, and I open up an online media business, and things start off reasonably well, and I enjoy some bursts of success. I get to meet well-known business people, some celebrities, and I get the chance to interview a Nobel Peace Prize winner, Malala Yousafzai. But you know, if you haven't been taught how to handle your money and your earnings, things can get very complicated very fast. Now, I was wondering, how could everything be going wrong? After all, doing business is in the Asian blood. But things were bad. I had to borrow fuel money from my parents just to make it to the next meeting. You see, in the Asian culture, we don't take money from our parents, we actually provide for them. And you would think that the community would come together and, give you some lessons learned, or perhaps guide you or support you. But hey, nobody wanted to take a chance on an ambitious middle-class girl with big dreams. As if the realization wasn't tough enough, it broke my heart when I had to take my mom to the doctor's appointment and she needed to get an ECG test. She paid the bill. I was shocked. I was embarrassed, and I felt like a complete failure. How could you be so foolish, Harleen? I was at a dead end. My folly had caught up with me. One evening, I'm sitting in the heavy Nairobi traffic at a roundabout, and you know how it is. I look through my phone, and I'm browsing through YouTube, and a Tony Robbins video pops up. Tony Robbins is a world-famous motivational speaker. Giant of a guy, tall, husky voice, no-nonsense fellow, tells you just like it is. And he was talking to a lady in a pretty similar situation like mine, and it was as if he was talking to me. So he said things to her like, "You are a miracle. You can take back the power, and you can consciously choose." So as the traffic opened up and I'm heading home, I look around and I see the other drivers and think, surely they must have gone through their own struggles and disappointments, so I'm not the only one to feel like this. I get home, I sit up late, and I reflect upon my life so far. And it's like I'm having a seminar with Tony in my head, and we're going through my bold and foolish moments. See, I didn't get to study abroad. I didn't get married on time or have those kids. I didn't have the high career-paying job or even profits in the business. Clearly, I was unusual. Up until now, I was living a very simple life with wonderful parents who had done absolutely everything to give me, my brother and sister, a meaningful life and a chance to do whatever we wanted. And no matter how tough things were, we always pulled through. So, was I foolish enough to believe that a love story was going to give me a meaningful relationship? Or was I not bold enough to hunt like an entrepreneur? Was I foolish that I trusted those around me and always went out of my way to do more for them and help them move forward? Or was I not bold enough to just be me? Well, the ambitious giant in me woke up and was ready to face absolutely anything. Now, the first thing that I did was I changed the company I was hanging out with. No more them community lot who weren't going to take a chance on an ambitious middle-class girl with big dreams. The second thing I did was manage my feelings so that they don't get the better judgment of me in my affairs, both personal or business. And the third thing I did was look for as many freelance jobs or as much work as possible to keep my online media business afloat. And by the way, I learned how to spend wisely and save as much as I could. I actually learned that to trust is to be foolish, and to be foolish is to be bold. Life is a road trip, guys. It's you who decides who gets to get into the car. Are you going to let shame, doubt, or failure come in? Or are you going to let self-belief, courage, and gratitude? I didn't have to sit waiting at the roundabout to see who was going to take the lane first. It was mine for the taking. I'm proud to tell you that for the first time in my life, I have savings, I have better relationships, I went back to school to study for a degree, and I found love, a man who respects and loves me and does take me to the movies. Thank you.